have been living in this past year through a time of great uncertainty. It is difficult, given what has already happened, to feel too confident about what will happen next. As I stood here preaching Communion Sunday last February to a church filled with bodies giving praise to our God, I had no idea. You had no idea. We had no idea on that first Sunday in February last year that would be our last full month of in-person worship in this sanctuary, the lonely sanctuary. Nothing but preacher, the preacher, and the pew. We no longer meet here. It's more important than ever that we find ways to get together online and in small gatherings. My beloved, don't you give up. Don't you give up on God, and don't you give up on yourself. I know it's dark, but the Bible tells us that the light shines in the dark. We thank God for these volunteers and for many others who have joined us all weekend, providing masks and sanitary kits to the poor, homeless, our essential workers, and our seniors. We've been feeding the hungry. We have been serving those who need flu shots, COVID-19 testing. We've been providing PPE.
You're helping people in the community who live month to month on a paycheck.
Hello everybody, Pastor Warnock here, and I'm proud on behalf of the officers and the members of Ebenezer Baptist Church to present to His Mercy and Grace Inc. a $10,000 check to support their work for our homeless citizens.
That's what the gospel is all about. It's about taking the folk who are on the margins and putting them in the mainstream. It's about taking the folk who are on the circumference and putting them in the center. It's about making sure that the Bible is right, that the first shall be last and the last shall be first.
Don't you know that God will make, He's gonna make a way out. I'm so glad.
We say every election cycle that this is the most important election of our lifetimes. Friends, I actually think this time around, it might actually be true. The decisions we make or don't make will affect the course, the moral course of our country for the immediate future. We can't afford to sit this one out.
CNN will now project that Democrat Raphael Warnock is elected to the U.S. Senate.
Politicians stood up and said, we're going to silence the folk. And they wrote this terrible bill, making it illegal, making it a crime to bring somebody water. Somewhere I read that I was hungry and you didn't give me any food. I was thirsty and you didn't give me any water to drink. And I wonder, where do these politicians go to church? So the governor met behind closed doors, all white men surrounding him. But then a woman came knocking at the door. A young state representative, a member of Ebenezer's own church family. They didn't want to hear her, and so they handcuffed her, mishandled her, dragged her through the hallways of the Capitol, charged her with 2 felonies for knocking on the door of the governor. I came today to say that he should have listened to her. America, Georgia, God is knocking at your door. He's should have listened to her. What's at stake is the viability and the health and the credibility of our democracy, that sacred idea of one person, one vote. That's what's under assault in Georgia and some 43 other states. I believe that democracy is the political enactment of a spiritual idea. The sacred worth of all human beings. John Lewis understood that and was beaten on a bridge defending it. Amelia Boynton was gassed on that same bridge. Medgar Evers was murdered in his own driveway. Schwerner, Cheney, and Goodman, two Jews and an African American standing up for that sacred idea of democracy, also paid the ultimate price. I say let's get this done no matter what. I urge my colleagues to pass these two bills and win the future for all of our children. There's a vaccine, we're told, hopefully right around the corner. Just hold on a little while longer.
We're getting vaccinated against a virus that not only can kill you, let's be candid, but also that is communicable, that can be passed on. The inconvenience it may be of having to go and get the shot versus all of the other tragedies that come from this thing, we know what's worth it, right?
Anybody here who's glad to be in the sanctuary? I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. I'm glad to be in the service with confidence. You can now enter into the sanctuary. In God's economy, there's a place for everybody. Red, yellow, brown, black and white. We're all precious in God's sight.
I don't know what the sermon was about,
Sure.
but I do know that you was talking about Jesus was somewhere and these people lifted this man up and put him down. And I had like my crack pipe, I had the beer, and I was just crying and I was just crying and I was just crying and I was just crying. I'm like, I can't keep living my life like this. I don't want to keep living like this.
So you're listening to the sermon while you're smoking crack.
Yeah.
But still you heard something.
I heard something. I heard, like you just said, I was that person that I needed help. I couldn't lift myself up and go do this and go do that. I needed help. And I finally was able to even use nights to be like, God, help me. And I would cry, God, please help me. And I got clean on my birthday, July the 9th, 2016. Was my first day clean. And I just turned 55 years old this July the 9th. And I celebrated 4 years clean.
And upon the profession of your faith, Luke Stanley, I baptize you, my son, in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Where would we be without one another? I need you, you need me. We're all a part of God's body.
Stand with me, agree with me. We're all a part of God's body.
It is His will that every need be supplied. You are